Well, hello there, you delightful individuals. Welcome back to the wonderful world of thirst and vanity, where we're going to be indulging in some cheeky little Rocky Horror today. Yes, my dear friends, I went to Rocky Horror twice for my birthday. Well, I say for my birthday. It was the same week as my birthday, and therefore I categorize it as for my birthday. We, of course, did the stream party. And then the day after the stream party, I went to see Rocky Horror with one group of friends, and then went to see it with another group of friends on Saturday. Did I completely forget that I arranged to go with each of them, and therefore ended up going twice? Yes, 110%. That is exactly what happened. But it did mean I got to see Rocky Horror Show twice, and I am never going to complain about that. Never going to complain at all. Anyway, I thought I'd make a little vlog with my Teflone, so you may find that the audio is a bit all over the place. I'm still getting used to this whole vlogging malarkey, so that you can all come on my little journey with me. I think you'd like that, wouldn't you? So, without any further ado, come up to the lab and see what's on the slab. Okay, delightful individuals, I am preparing myself ready to go see Rocky Horror, and I'm running around like a headless chicken because it turns out my Rocky Horror underwear, I have a specific set of underwear that I wear when I'm doing the Frankenfurter dynamic. That underwear has decided to go astray. It's gone missing, alluring somewhere else, and that's extremely frustrating. So I had to go and delve into different realms of underwear to try and find something that will work. But I've got my heels, I've got my corset, I've got my big feather boa, got all these variety of different things, but not the underwear that I require. So that's extremely frustrating. I'm going to try and document this endeavor. Another vlog. Oh, yes. How exciting. But it's Rocky Horror, so it's great. I'm going tonight, which is very, very exciting. I'm also going on Saturday. We'll go see the live show because I completely got it wrong and accidentally found myself booking myself with two different sets of friends, which actually just works out fine for me because I bloody love Rocky Horror. So this is day one of Rocky Horror. I'm going to go and indulge myself, providing I can find the bloody underwear. We are now driving to my friend's house, where we're going to be getting ready, and I'm being quite the passenger princess as I sit here and indulge in all of the delightful tunes and responding to emails. I'm going to go and make myself look real pretty. And I still didn't find the underwear! So I've had to find replacement underwear, which will not be as good, in my opinion. All the same, it's going to be a good night. And thus we have it. My delightful visage. Beautiful, is it not? God damn. Look at it. It's glorious and spectacular. Exactly the way you should expect with me. The outfit. Never going to be able to get away with that on YouTube. I'm here at my friend's house now. And got myself beautiful and ready. We're just about to jump in the car and drive to town and indulge ourselves in some Rocky Horror for the first time this week. Look, delightful. Oh my lordy! Calm yourself. I'm also wearing my 9-inch heels, so it's intense, to say the least. Intense. And I've had to loosen my corset up because every single time I go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I forget and end up like getting real lightheaded by the second act, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's so warm. So I've loosened it up. I've remembered this time, which is good. But we're doing all right. We're doing okay. I'm feeling pretty sexy, if I do say so myself. Onwards to the show. we're here. Whole new theatre, and I am ready to go in. Everyone's dressed up. It's really, really cool. It's Wednesday, so there's not quite as many as usual, but it is good fun. It is good fun. I'm just waiting on friends, and we're going to go into the stalls and get ourselves right by the front as well. So before the show starts, I'll try and show you what it's all about. I've already had a few people ask me if they can take photos, which is very, very kind, very complimentary, you know. But yeah, good. See you in a minute. Okay, I'm in a takeaway, having just ordered a cheesy chip wrap. As you all knew I was going to. After the show, we went to the pub near the venue, near the theatre, and met some of the cast. Very, very good, very, very entertaining. I'm not going to tell you anything about the show until I go see it on Saturday. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to ruin that for you. I know you were anticipating it, but still, calm yourself, all right? That's the reason. So at the end of the video, in fact, you'll be able to see this. If you go down to the chapters, you know what's going on, all right? That's great. But I'm going to go see it a second time. Then I'm going to give you my views, my thoughts, my opinions. Very interesting, very different from what I was expecting. Exactly. But now is cheesy chip wrap time. Let's see what's happening. Hello, you delightful individuals. It is Saturday. It is Saturday, and I am now getting myself ready for the second outing to the joys of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like you had any doubts at this point in the video, you already know where this is going. But I realized that I didn't actually show you the joys, the wonders, the spectacular endeavors of making my face look pretty, because Wednesday was a bit of a rush with getting everything sorted after the party stream, then streaming, and then going straight to Rocky Horror. So now let's indulge ourselves, shall we? And get my delightful visage made up. And we're off. Here we are, looking beautiful and delightful. What a tantalizing outfit I'm wearing. Starting with a good old base layer of creme foundation, making sure that I cover up all of the spots, because if you haven't already noticed, I have a massive head, and that massive head needs covering. I need a blank canvas. I always start with a blank canvas. Many people start with the eyes first, and I understand why they do that, so they don't get their eyeshadow all over their blank canvas of makeup. But I always end up starting with the foundation first, because that's where I find I get the most pigment out of my eyeshadow colors. The more pigment, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Making sure I get all of the crevices and down my neck and what have you. And then we move on to a little bit of highlighter. This is one that is definitely running out. I need to get it replaced. Highlighting all of the bits that need highlighting under the eyes, the nose, little bit, the bow of the mouth and what have yous. And then I'm adding more highlighter this time because I found a shiny one in my little collection. I didn't show you this one, but this is a shinier version, doing just the highlights at the front of the face and then the cheekbones, and then going in with a little more dark to produce some kind of delightful contouring of the face, making my nose look delightfully angular, and of course making those cheekbones pop. I actually went for a brown this time. Sometimes with Rocky Horror I go for like a more of a grey version to make it look a little bit more gothic, a little bit more spooky and what have you. And this is something that I tend to do. It just makes it easier when blending out if you do the neck and then round the back of the ears towards the hairline, as you can see, looking pretty. Then I go over everything with a good old powdering, making everything blend, smearing. I tend to beat the powder into my face, making sure all of the pores are well and truly covered in every way, shape, or form, and use it to also blend out what is underneath my chin and underneath my jawbone. Now with this, I've gone in for some good old stereotypical gothic stargazer in order to go around the stereotypical skull shape, so sort of like teeth area and around the eye sockets, and naturally cover everything with a good old dosing of fixer. And oh, I stopped. Oh, of course, I stopped to swear at you. What else would I do if not to swear at you? Yes, once I've done the fixer, I then do the eyeshadow, because again, it makes everything nice and potent. We like a good set of potent eyeshadows. I like everything to be fixed first and foremost, and the eyeshadow is always the stuff that pops for me personally. Now, on this, I'm actually going to do two base layers of blue, a lighter blue and then a darker blue over the top. And then on top of that, I'm taking this palette that I got from TwitchCon and taking the particularly metallic variety from that palette in order to do yet another layer of blue. And then if I remember correctly, there we go. There's me finding the blue glitter. I finish with a nice blue glitter that goes over the top of absolutely everything in order to make it look real purdy-like before I bring in the black eyeshadow. Look at it shine, look at it shimmer, look at it shine, it's beautiful. Okay. This is the delightfully frustrating bit, friends, because as I was recording me putting on my delightful makeup, my good old OBS, the recording equipment that I use, decided that it was going to stop recording against my very clear and specific instructions. Much like Frankenfurter and Riffraff, I will have to give my computer a good flogging later. You hear that, you cheeky shit? By the time I'd realized that I had not been recording, I'd already got all my face on because I got so into the flow of getting it all over, the glitter, the eyeshadow, all that jazz, and then the lips and the lip liner. I'd done it all. That was it. So here's the final product. Yes, here is the final product. Look at me looking pretty. Oh my god, glorious, luxurious, and tantalizing, but something's missing. That's right, my jewelry and fancy danciness. That's what I need, but something else is wrong. What could it be? Of course. Who would be Frankenfurter without a good, sexy feather boa? I know, it's tantalizing, with stockings and suspenders and everything. And, of course, the 9-inch heels that I've got to put on. Time to go. So I'm now in the bar, waiting to go in for the second performance of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Saturday, everyone's dressed up, which I'm very, very happy to see. A lot of people are very jealous of my massive 9-inch heels. My friend is just getting me a drink, and then I'll be going in. I can't show you any of it because they don't allow any recording device, no phones, no nothing, which is understandable. And to be honest with you, even if they would allow it, I wouldn't show you anyway. If you want to see it, go see it, or get the movie, if you can't see it live. But it's good, it's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. No spoilers though. And then, when it's all done, and it's all finished, and I've had my night out, because afterwards I'm naturally going to go to a nightclub and get absolutely off my gourd. Once that's all done, then I will give you my review and let you know what I think of both performances. I'm going home. And there we have it. And there's my excursions to the land of Rocky Horror, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird doing a vlog about a show that I can't show you because, well, first of all, they ban cameras in the actual theatre space itself, which means that I couldn't show you any of the actual show itself. But even if I could have had the camera in there, I wouldn't have done, because part of the experience is going and seeing it for yourself, going and actually being in the audience, being there amongst all of these dressed up people in the Rocky Horror style, the Rocky Horror fashion, being amongst the heckling, being amongst the amazing show, the performers, the theater space, the set, the scenery, the sound, the music, everything about it. It's an entire encompassing experience of theatrical proportions like you just don't get anywhere. There is no other theatrical experience like Rocky Horror Picture Show, and honestly, that's the way it should be. And now we've done all of that, I'm going to talk about my review, my view of this specific interpretation of Rocky Horror. Now, first of all, I love the movie. Absolutely love Rocky Horror Picture Show. The movie is one of my all-time favorite movies. Very much a sexual awakening of my own. Very much one of those ones that I was like, oh my God, I can be like this. I can wear these things. Oh, this is fantastic. This is glorious. I cannot bloody wait. And I was very, very excited to go see it the first time. And honestly, I have seen it in theaters well over a dozen times now. I've seen it a good 12, maybe 13 times in the actual theater, as well as however many times I've seen it on the DVD, the movie, the Blu-ray, etc., including going to the cinema to see a cinematic viewing of Rocky Horror. In fact, I think I have seen this show more than anything else in my entire life. Wow, actually, that's quite an eye. For somebody who doesn't like rewatching things, I rewatch this a hell of a lot. But anyway, it's great. That should tell you how good it is. Now, as a result, I have seen a lot of variations, a lot of interpretations, a lot of views of how this is done. Everybody who ever plays one of the cast are going to play it in a slightly different way. Everybody who ever directs it is going to direct it in a slightly different way. And that's grand. In fact, one of the cast members, the person who played Riff Raff, played it for like a decade. This was the first year that they had a different Riff Raff playing that character. They had a different actor playing Riff Raff, which was surprising to me, but he did very, very well. But let's talk about my view of the entire thing. Now, it was great. The actual, the stage production was fantastic. Everyone's voice was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. They knocked it out of the park. When we went to see it, we had a different Brad, if I remember correctly. We had, it was the understudy who played the Brad, because the person who normally played Brad was ill. We also didn't have Jason Donovan. Jason Donovan was doing select performances throughout the UK, but we didn't have them. We had the person who was mainly playing Frankenfurter. And I saw two different Columbias. So there was a Columbia on the Wednesday and a different Columbia on the Saturday. I don't know whether they just flip generally or whether one was the understudy or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, very, very good. The music was sensational. The set, absolutely fantastic. I really like the way they adapted a very compact set into so many different varieties. They had lots of turning panels to change things around and make them more adaptable for the lab scene versus the foyer scene with all these different things. And of course, the bedroom scenes.
You beast! You monster! What have you done with Brad?
Nothing. Why? Do you think I should?
Absolutely fantastic. I kind of don't want to give too much away because I want people to go and see it. But yeah, let's go into slightly more general bits and pieces. I did find some interesting direction choices. For those people that don't do theatre, everything gets decided very specifically in theatre. When you go for an audition, the director can literally turn around, or the casting director, etc., can literally dismiss you purely because you don't look right. Now, that might seem super prejudiced based on your part or what have you, but that is a standard thing in the world of theatre. The director has a vision, and if you don't fit that vision close enough, then you aren't going to work for that. That is a standard thing for the entirety of theatrical natures. Do you know what I mean? Theatrical productions. Some directors are more flexible than others. Some casting directors, there's a lot of different dynamics. But as a result, when you go to watch theatre productions, you see these things and you go, okay, that was an interesting decision. You don't go, okay, that's a factor that is there. It was an interesting decision. One of the things that I immediately noticed was the fact that Frank was huge. And when I say huge, I mean particularly tall. They were a very tall Frank. They were obviously wearing high heels as well, but they were very tall. And the rest of the cast in comparison, I think Riff Raff was probably the tallest member, and they only came to Frank's shoulder. There was a point where Frank lifted his leg up around Rocky, and Rocky held him like this, held his thigh up over his shoulder, as opposed to sort of around him like this. It was up over his shoulder, which I was like, wow, that's a choice. Having small Brad, small Rocky, and a smaller Riff Raff. Obviously, Riff Raff's quite hunched over anyway. Smaller Eddie. They were all much significantly and noticeably smaller than Frank. which gives him this air of larger than life, which I did quite like. I was uncertain about it initially, but I did quite like the way that it worked like that. However, because of that difference between the height of Frank versus the height of everybody else, it meant that he was larger than life, but there was something like he just didn't quite fit. There was some scenes where I was like, okay, this is an odd choice. This is different. This doesn't quite fit right. And I couldn't work out what it was. And then afterwards, in hindsight, of course, I saw it twice. I was like, oh, actually, no, I know what it is. It is entirely because of the proportional difference between Frank and everybody else here. Going into the cast, Riff Raff particularly was absolutely fantastic. Very, very, very funny character. The rest of the characters were great, do not get me wrong. The rest of the characters were absolutely fantastic, but Riff Raff was like a standout character. The only person I would say that stood out more than Riff Raff was the criminologist, the narrator character. He was fucking hilarious. He was so funny and on it. Like, people would heckle out to the criminologist, and the criminologist is pretty much the only character who is allowed to break that fourth wall. There's sometimes when Frank does it, sometimes when Riff Raff does it, etc. It's not like it's like a signed, a little nod to the audience, but the criminologist breaks the fourth wall all the time, and that is the point of it. But as a result, when people heckled at him, he was on it, absolutely on it. He just, every single time, and changed his jokes up as well. Well, obviously seeing it on the Wednesday and the Saturday, you expect to hear the same jokes, but I didn't. I had different jokes, so he was definitely spicing it up each time, which was fantastic to see. He was very much a standout member of the cast out of everybody there, and they were all very, very good. I will say that this interpretation of Frank felt off to me. Like, it wasn't just the fact that he was larger than life, just wasn't just the fact that he was a bit over the top and obviously the height differences and stuff like that, but he felt more drag queen than raunchy. Like, obviously you meet a whole load of drag queens that are very, very raunchy, but everything felt a little bit too cheesy, a little bit too tongue-in-cheek. And I'm sure that was a lot of it was down to like the direction, the way that they were directed to do things. But it didn't feel like Frank was a horn monster. It didn't feel like he was a real fucking charismatic sexual aficionado that just drew everyone to him. It just felt, oh, look, here's the drag queen. Hey, how's it going? It was very jolly and jovial over sexy and flirtatious. You know, there was definitely flirtatious moments, don't get me wrong, but it didn't fit right for me. Like, there was the point where Frank was like, so tell me, Brad, do you have any tattoos? As opposed to, so tell me, Brad, do you have any tattoos? That was the difference. It felt more like a general question versus an insinuation. That's probably the best comparison I can give. The entire atmosphere was more jovial, confident, in your face, I'm larger than life, let's go, versus innuendo, hey, let's flirt a little bit, let's charismatic flirtation, let's go, you know? And as a result, there were a few scenes that didn't feel believable to me. It didn't feel like that scene naturally flowed with the sexual chemistry was off, is what I think it was. There felt like there was a sexual chemistry that was off. Do not get me wrong. Frank was an absolutely fantastic performer, and his voice was absolutely sensational. It was so good. So good. And I very, very, very briefly met him on the way back from one of the pubs afterwards, but it was so good. Like, he really, really nice person and what have you. But just for me and my interpretation of what I expect from a Frankenfurter, there wasn't enough innuendo. There wasn't enough sex pestery, like charismatic flirtation, that sort of constant invitation of every single word he says is an invitation to do something dirty with him. It felt like a director's choice as opposed to a performer's choice. When I spoke to some friends afterwards, I asked them what they thought to get their opinions before I voiced my own. And the way that they described it was they thought it felt tame. It was not as raunchy as Rocky Horror usually is. And I agree with that. Still, sensational show. Absolutely loved it. But it didn't feel raunchy enough for my liking. And I'd say that I agree with that statement. So yeah, like, my thoughts are pretty certain on that. Like, culmination, absolutely amazing show. Very, very talented performers. Very amazing set, amazing music, because it's all live music. Amazing cast with phenomenal, phenomenal voices. But in regards to the way that it was put on, it didn't feel raunchy enough for me. It didn't feel in your face, sexy, raw sexual power for me. It felt a little bit too tame, and I would have liked to have seen more raunch. More, god damn. I want to look at Frankenfurter, no matter what they look like, I want to look at Frankenfurter and be like, fuck me now. That's what I want. That's what I want. And I didn't get that with this interpretation of Rocky Horror. And then after the show, on both nights, we went round, I think you saw it earlier, we went around to a pub around the back of the building. So where the theatre is, there's a pub around the back of it called the Old English Gentleman. And that's where the cast go afterwards. They didn't go on the Saturday night, but after the show on the Wednesday night, we went round. I ended up having a conversation very briefly with the guy who played Riff Raff and the lady who played Janet. Very, very, very nice people. I said hi to Rocky and Brad. And then on Saturday, I went out to a club called Spiders and got absolutely mortaled. It was great. I had a really, really good time. I changed my shoes from the 9-inch heels to a more sensible pair of booties and went out and just had a wonderful time. Wonderful, wonderful time. Got very, very drunk. Had a great time with friends and just, yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. So yeah, that's my Rocky Horror vlog of my experience going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show twice. If you have seen it, wherever you are in the world, if you've seen the stage show wherever you are in the world, I would love to know what your experience was like. There's kind of part of me now that wants to go around the world and see the Rocky Horror Picture Show in different countries just to see what their experience is like, how it changes, like culturally as well as everything else, you know? Yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. And if you haven't seen it, once again, I would strongly recommend at some stage in the future, find out when it's next touring in your area, go and see the live production. Please, please, please go and see the live production. It is just absolutely bloody excellent. If you enjoy the movie, you will enjoy the Rocky Horror Picture Show stage show. Even if it's not, like I say, this one wasn't raunchy enough for me, still a very, very enjoyable experience. Of course, friends, at the end of each video, I ask you to go and check me out on a variety of different socials. We, of course, have the twitch.tv/ValenVain, where I chat about all kinds of inane shit, and you're welcome to come join me chatting shit. You can check me out on TikTok, though I haven't posted much on TikTok because there's a million things going on in my life, but I am on that website if you would like to go check out all my previous videos, all my little whimsical facts about sex. And of course, you can check me out on Instagram, where I've been posting a lot more just because it's easy to post my life over on Instagram as I'm getting up to various different bits and pieces, you know. Thank you very much for watching, you cheeky little devils. I really, really appreciate it. I'm getting back into the flow of things now. I'm getting back into the flow of actually creating YouTube videos and being inspired to create YouTube videos. In fact, there's a few things that are going on in the world right now that I'm very tempted to do YouTube videos on. So hopefully I will have some more coming to you in the very, very near future, you know? However, until then, you beautiful beings, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Because if I wouldn't do it, it'll fucking kill you. Here I am, the morning afterwards. And, got a little ticket. Got a little parking ticket. I was pretty sure that that parking was free on Sundays in town. Certainly used to be when I lived in town back in the day. But evidently not anymore. Never mind. The price of a good night. And it was a good night.